Well, welcome back. There's a look around the region. We've got a handful of clouds in some spots. Not too much over downtown Macon from this angle, although you can see that from downtown, it looks like we've got a little bit of shade going on. Of course, earlier in Forsyth, there was a bit of a sprinkle. Did not last very long. Delvin's just kind of featured some scattered clouds throughout the afternoon. So, as you can see, we do have a little bit more storm activity going on over the northwestern third or quarter of the region or so. We've had a couple of spotty ones down in Wheeler and Telfair County. Not much remaining of those at this point. Unfortunately, having to rely on the Atlanta radar right now. I guess they're doing some maintenance on the one for the Robins Air Force Base. It's not a bad day to work on it. There really isn't a whole lot going on with rain chances. But hopefully, now these storms further north impact Truist Park. Of course, there is the MLB All-Star Game later on this evening there. Very exciting for the folks in Atlanta. 95 is our high today. That's one above the average. 94. Woke up 71. That's one below the average. 72. In other words, we're staying around the average for this time of year, for the most part, through the next couple of days. Real feel staying low triple digits, largely upper 90s now, and after midnight will mainly be in those 70s, going 72 for tonight's low, which is again right about the average for this time of year, with that wind staying gentle out of the east. So low 70s should be the norm, even some mid 70s as we continue forward. Things will get hot later in the week, but we got some stuff to touch on before we get to that, namely tied to Invest 93L here. That is the low you're seeing over northern Florida. It is, of course, a tropical system that will likely become Tropical Depression 4 within the next 48 hours over the Gulf, and then hopefully that's all the intensifying it does, but chances are it'll become Tropical Storm Dexter before making a potential landfall somewhere on the southeastern coast of Louisiana, an area that definitely does not need to be hit with a hurricane or any sort of tropical weather, as they've had more than their fair share in recent years. You don't have to go back all the way to Katrina. You can just go to 2020. There were 5 storms that made landfall in Louisiana. The worst one, if I'm not mistaken, was Hurricane Laura. So, as of now, here it is. It's not very organized, but you can see the low kind of the southwest of Gainesville, slowly moving westward, and no intensification will happen until it gets back over the Gulf, but that will likely happen overnight tonight and into tomorrow. 60% odds or greater for it to become Tropical Depression 4 within the next 48 hours. And again, the odds are definitely going to be favorable for it to at least become Tropical Storm Dexter before a landfall as well. Through tonight, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot going on with cloud cover out there. I think this is being pretty aggressive. I know it is related to that system off to the south, but it's not very organized at this moment in time. It's not even a depression as of yet. Tomorrow will feature some decent breezes out of the south-southeast. Those are still tied to that low, which at this point will be just off of the western coast of Florida and to the south of, say, Pensacola, other areas. They're along the panhandle. Tomorrow's highs may be mitigated as a result. Thinking a lot of low, maybe a few mid-90s with real feels upper 90s, couple low triple digits. I do think the rain chances are being very aggressive tomorrow. How's it 20%? Maybe that goes to 30, but we should definitely see less than half the region getting any rain as we go through tomorrow. As for Thursday, now we're not going to be directly influenced by that system, and boom, the real feels are right back into the triple digits like today as we go through the afternoon and the evening. Again, thinking about 20% or so for rain chances for Thursday afternoon as well. But tomorrow, 93, chance for a shower or a storm with that wind. Could get a little gusty at times in that 15 to 20 mile per hour range, and we'll look beyond this coming up in just 10 seconds. Your 41 NBC AccuWeather 7-day forecast is brought to you by Volume Chevrolet. So it is going to be pretty hot as we move into the middle and later parts of the week. Again, we're really only going to get our temperature mitigated for tomorrow. We're going to be above average heading into the weekend, especially with the highs. Lows will still be pretty seasonal, but the rain chances are isolated each day, nothing overly widespread.